All right, now I'm talking about subtle lust. I'm talking about edging. When I say advanced semen retention, that's what advanced semen retention is. Why do you got to change your whole life, though? Seems drastic. And what does it mean, change your whole life? Sit out in the woods like this and you just don't do nothing? No. When I say change your whole life, I'm meaning to do introspection on a level where you're checking yourself and seeing, listening inside, looking at your life and seeing, like, is this auspicious for me? Is this good for me to do? Is this actually helping me be in the highest version of myself? Okay, why does that matter? When we're talking about transcending the sexual instinct on the subtle level, we need power. We need power. How do you get power? This is what the channel's about, and this is what my other channel's about, Transcending Shadows. There's a playlist called the 8 Principles or 8 Healthy Habits to give you a foundation for spiritual growth. When we're doing those things, we get power. You need heavyweight power to overcome heavyweight subtle tendencies such as lust and edging. So that's why I say we have to change our life. Change our life how? Look at our diet. Are we eating addicts, basically? Are we eating things to give us a dopamine hit? Because it's like, okay, we stopped the PMO, we're trying to stop edging, but then the habit transfers, the energy transfers. Unless there's a true spiritual shift, a shift in consciousness, everybody's just transferring one addiction to another. I saw it in 12-step meetings, my whole life. You stop drinking alcohol, then you switch to nicotine. You stop nicotine, you go to coffee. You stop coffee, you go to PMO, and on and on and on. Or you get into sugar or food. I mean, there's so many things. Gambling, workaholic. There's all these things. Because the inner anxiety is too much. We can't deal with it. So then we need some addiction to kind of put us asleep a little bit, to take the edge off. This is why addictions and attachments get created. So when we change our whole life, we look at our diet. What can we eat to give us a high vibration? All right, I talk about that on my other channel. We want to be high vibrational. That gives us more energy. We want to surround ourselves around good company, good environment, because that gives us energy. So see, we're getting all this energy, and then when those subtle tendencies come to lust and to edge and do all that, all of a sudden now, if we're in the height of our being, we have some power to step over that. It's still going to be challenging because we're dealing with deep stuff. This is why nobody does it. Who's doing this? Who's trying to be free of PMO? It's very, very less people. But who's trying to be free of edging too? It is nobody. Okay? Why? Because it's not easy. Nobody can do it. So then the mind justifies and says, well, it's okay, I'm a man, and this is how it's supposed to be, and all that. But some of you guys realize, you're like, no, wait a minute. When I'm edging and lusting and trying to get hits of female attraction and validation, somehow I don't like how that feels, because you're in touch with your depth. You're in touch with your consciousness, you're conscious, and you want to overcome that. But then you're like, well, damn, this is hard. How am I going to overcome that? That's why I'm saying change your life on all these different levels. Look at my other channel, Transcending Shadows, and I go over these things. And then you just let time do its thing. This is an evolutionary process. You can't change all this overnight. You're talking about like being reborn is what you're talking about. Your highest self is trying to give birth into this human dimension. Most people are just living from their lower self, imagining they're living from the higher self. They think higher self means getting rich and making money and buying cars, and they're like, yeah, that's not higher self. That can be there, that's irrelevant. It just doesn't matter. Higher self is when you're dialed in, you're tapped in. You can say there's a conscious contact with the source that created you. That's actually running your life. There's a tangible recognition that that's running your life, as opposed to your mind and your thoughts and your feelings and your desires. You've got to the point where you can discern the difference. When God's running your life or when your mind is running your life. This is the game that we're in. This is the main purpose of a human life, to recognize that. Okay? That's why you got to change your life, because it's hard. Stuff's hard. The deep level stuff. Checking your motives, like, what's my motive for talking to her? Being honest, having that level of self-honesty and then introspection to see, damn, I'm trying to talk to her. Honestly, I'm trying to get a little hit. I want her to let me know I'm okay. You be honest with yourself. Now, sometimes it's mixed. The motives are mixed. You're like, no, there's a genuine feeling I have. The chemistry was nice. It happened spontaneously. It was nice. Okay, good. But is there also still something there that's trying to extract some kind of validation and self-worth by her giving you attention? It's not a see, people don't want to look at stuff. It's like, why? It's because they think they get guilty or shame. Their ego don't want to look at stuff. It doesn't want to admit, like, man, I'm still, a little imperfect. Everybody is. Who cares? Like, everybody is. Like, it doesn't matter. You got to be okay with being imperfect. And then you can look at all the imperfections. And then you can be free of it and be less imperfect. That's how it works. But if you're like trying to just imagine that, man, I got it all together and I'm not going to look at nothing, you're not going to grow much, So be okay with doing your introspection. I love catching myself out on the subtlest levels. I don't care. Like, who cares? You go to my other channel, Spiritual Renaissance, and you'll realize who we are beyond this human show. It's perfect. It's stainless. This is who we really are. So what difference does it make if this human puppet that we're playing in for a while is imperfect? You got to look at it like that. See my other channel, Spiritual Renaissance. All right, did I miss anything? Yeah. So, I'll just end with this. Unless we're super strong and stable inside, which we can only get by accessing spiritual power, which we can only access the spiritual power if we start aligning our life, all aspects of our life, in a more harmonious way. What does it mean? Looking at diet, company, environment, doing introspection, checking your addictions and habits, being willing to be free of them, working on yourself, in other words. Then we get the power. We get access to the power. Then this power gives us the power to transcend these subtle things that we're talking about, like lust and edging, etc. All right? That's why we got to change our life. What else to do? And I'm talking to the ones that really, really hear this. This message isn't for most people, obviously. Most people just zombie through their shadows and issues that come up. Or they do something, get high or get drunk or go have sex, sexualize it away. They don't look at stuff that come up. They just zombie through it. No, I'm good. Everything's good. Yeah. But those who are more sensitive, who you can say grace is with you because you don't want to waste time in this life, then you're like, no, I have to look at this stuff. So this channel's for you. This is what we're doing. We're looking at all that little stuff. Not to induce guilt. This is the main thing that you got to understand. We're not doing it because the mind's going to paint a picture and say, damn, I'm so messed up. It's going to take like forever. This is too much. And you don't want to look at it anymore. Rumi said, he who brought me here is taking care of me. You don't know. Your path can all of a sudden get exponential after a certain point. You can say mountains of issues and delusions just dissolve, like that. We don't know how it's going to work. When there's some shift in consciousness, your whole life changes. All right? We don't know. Don't let the mind try to tell you how this is going to work. It's impossible. The mind doesn't know because we're talking about something higher than the mind. All right? So I want to leave you with that message. I do consultations. If anybody wants one, you can... my email's on the banner, and go see my other channels, Transcending Shadows and Spiritual Renaissance. You can see I have the links in my channel homepage. Have a good day.